SmashFactor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. Man, that is beyond long.
Look at this. He's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome, everybody, to episode 85 of the Smash Factor. Beautiful Monday evening down here. I'm seeing all kinds of snow in Montana and Colorado, and JB's wearing a hoodie behind the mic, and it's like 98 degrees here. So I don't know when we're going to get fall. It has not yet arrived. But exciting week last week, a great tournament, great ending. Looking forward to the Shriners Open this week in Las Vegas, where it is not cold. With me, as always, partner, Mr. Nagel. How you doing tonight?
What's up, Guff? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Little crazy weekend for me. Allergic reaction. First one in, I think it's been 5 years since I've had one, but kind of knocked me out for a little while and got to do the follow-up steroids and drugs and shit. So it's kind of got me a little down, little tired, but Mondays are always difficult as well. So it's been a long day already. I am excited though, because it's a pretty stacked field. Looks like a pretty good tournament this week. Loaded, a lot of options and values and pay up, pay down. So tons to talk about. How was your Safeway Open?
It was pretty good. I had Adam Hadwin. I added him late and gave me a good little run. I won a nice little winner-take-all tournament, and I cashed a little bit in the $8 with Hadwin. I had him in with Adam Scott, Snedeker, and Cawley, and Siwoo. Those guys that are right. I only had 5 or 6 through. Still made a little bit of money. Yeah, we're happy for Cam Champ and that story and everything else. But I had an outright at Hadwin at 70-1. I was kind of rooting for him. And he almost got it, almost. But it was good little sweat for the Safeway. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Showdown, I broke even. I had a really good Saturday, but lost most of it back Sunday. Week, I was down about 34%, I think is what I added up earlier. Had plenty of – I had 6 of 6s there on Sunday and the $8 and the $44. I think I got as high as 6th or 7th in the $44 at one point Sunday. So I had a sweat, but then I think it was Cawley and Vegas proceeded to tee off and shoot about 12 over combined or something. So that kind of ended all the real.
Cawley was bad on Sunday. Yeah, he had a rough go.
He was bad and Vegas was worse. If that makes it any better. Betting wise was not great. It really started out terrible. Luckily I had, I don't know, I think it's Zhang is how you actually say his name, but one of the guys I talked up last week, Hoag and Piercy were all kind of there in the mix Sunday. Piercy and Zhang wound up getting the top 20, so that helped offset some of the blood from the matchup in 3 balls. I think I started like 1-8 on Thursday and into Friday, then turned it around and went like 7-6 or something like that. Not great by any means, but the top 20s helped offset it. I think Zhang was like 16-1 at a top 20, so if I would have done the each way with him, it would have been really good. But he played well. I was proud of him. So did Hoag. I mean, he was there. I mean, he was inside. They were both inside the top 15 going into Sunday, so I thought they had a chance. And Piercy actually shot a great Sunday to get inside the top 20. So overall, I was pleased. I did not have Champ, which kind of disappoints me because I've been on him, quite a bit. I tried to be early on him after everybody jumped off midsummer when he kind of lost his irons. I think it was, and maybe in my solo pod where I mentioned that watching him, this is an eye test over, watching the numbers, is that he looked like his irons are getting closer and closer. And that's really, I mean, if he gets his irons on, then last week's going to be a normal for him. That's kind of his only weakness. Short game is not bad. Putting saved his ass Sunday because he had at least 7 holes that he had to make a longish putt or that chip in on, I think it was 12 to say par. So, I mean, any one of those go bad.
Yeah, he had like 5. He had at least 5 that I can remember outside of 7 feet that he nailed. Early in the round too. Second, third hole. Yeah. You said Piercy. You had Piercy. I thought Piercy shot like 80 one day and was like last. You talking about Scott Piercy?
Cameron.
No, I thought you mentioned Scott Piercy before. But I thought he had a terrible round.
No, he did. Cameron Piercy.
Okay. Not Scott. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Scott.
Okay.
Yeah.
You threw me off with that. All right. I got you.
Cameron Piercy. Yeah, he shot. They're spelled a little different, but I think they're pronounced the same. But you know me, I can't pronounce the words to save my life. But they look like Percy to me, so that's what I'm gonna call them.
No. You're right. I just didn't make that connection. Yeah. All right, that makes more sense. All right.
Besides that, there wasn't much takeaway. I think this week's going to get talked up a little bit more. You got a lot of big names. Brooks comes back. Some out there, I think, already saying that he may be committed to this just to get his brother a sponsor's exemption. I don't know that, but I don't really care. But there's a ton of good talent, a lot to digest as far as banking on guys. It's kind of like last week, the guys that have been off forever. So Webb, Brooks versus guys like a Matsu, right? He comes back, breaks off the rust, misses the cut, a little cheaper. Is he in play? Things like that are going to be, fun to talk about tonight. We're going to get to you quick and try to get this over by 7:15 my time, 8:15 Eastern for the football game. And my voice is still kind of going out from the weekend, so definitely want to. Sadly, the listener league did not fill, and unless there's a high demand in the Slack, I'm not going to run it until we get back to January, because it seems like maybe it's a difficulty of people filling both that and the football, which is fine. There's just no point in putting the effort in doing it if we can't. I mean, if we can't fill that on a, I think it was only 100 guys or 150 maybe when, during the main season, we filled 200 within 24 hours. So there just must be not much attention for those right now. But if I get enough Slack, people asking for it, I'll throw a smaller one up just for the membership only. Maybe 100 person maybe should fill in the membership. I don't know. I was a little disappointed we didn't get that filled, but so no results there. No one got the extra $50 on top of it, which is fine. We filled the football one fairly easy, actually. So maybe everybody's just focused on NFL right now. I think this week we'll get a little bit more. I think in the next 3 to 4 weeks, you'll start to see the bleed over of people that are tired of football already or have lost enough from football, or, they just get tired of it and they want to come back. And I think, at least my opinion is people are starting to understand these fields aren't your typical fall swing fields. A lot more, Adam Scott mentioned last week. He said, I got to have a break sometime. And I got to finish the Australia tour, and I'm not going to come back over here until late January, February now. So I'm playing a lot more now to get my, he doesn't want to be 4 months behind on FedEx Cups. By the time they get to January, they're already probably, into January, mid-February, they're over a third of the way season through 16 events. That's just not normal. So they're all having to adjust. And I think we've talked about this for weeks, but I think that's why you're going to start seeing some of these guys here, which is great because it gives, bigger names in these tournaments, hopefully get some awareness to the industry and help everything out. I think this year people are catching on late, and then, by the time we cycle through next year again, I think people will be aware of it a little bit more. So should help. This week, I think it's going to be loaded. We'll get to our sponsors real quick. FantasyNational.com/Cup. All the links and affiliates are on the website. We have a new offer coming from Pro Football Focus that I will announce Wednesday night. It's awesome. They just sent it to us tonight, so we'll get it loaded up for you guys. And if you haven't joined yet, it's a pretty cool little offer if you want to jump in for the last, 3/4 of the season. But for golf, FantasyNational.com/Cup. Click on the link. You get 20% off your next subscription. As always, Fanshare Sports, use the code GUP. Click on the link on there, and it'll take you straight there and get the Pro Advantage for 20% off. Rate and review us on iTunes, Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube and Twitch. We will, on October 9th, which is next Wednesday, we will be announcing a few things and a few giveaways that are coming up in the next month or so. One of them is a really, really awesome giveaway. I would make sure that you are rating and review us on iTunes, and then everything else. The iTunes is it gets you double the entry, and any big prize we give away, one of the winners always comes from someone that has rated and reviewed us on iTunes. So it's important you do that. It helps us out the most. All of them help us out, and all of them get you an entry. So if you do them all, you get like 6 entries into the drawings. Probably takes 5 minutes to do all of them. If you're proficient with your mobile phone, you can do them all pretty quick. So do that for us. It helps us out a ton. We have seen a big increase on the iTunes and the reviews here in the last month. So you guys have done a great job helping us out there, and we appreciate it. You can join gupscorner.com now for 15% off. Use GCFFG off any package, tools, or content and analysis. And right now, through the entire fall swing, you have free access to our golf tools set that we got going. Right now, we have the live data up, and then here in the next 2 weeks or so, we'll start introducing some of the other tools and continue to introduce them throughout the whole entire fall swing, all the way leading up to January, when we will put it behind the paywall as well. But if you join the content analysis package now, you have free access to that for all of the golf events. A lot of good feedback on that so far, especially once the tournament kicks off. Our pre-tournament tools and stuff will be coming out next. We're working on those now, but it's all free. So you can go out there and check it out as long as you're a member to the base package. So we're at Las Vegas, Nevada this week. As always, Kenny Kim has the in-depth course preview that'll get posted probably here in the next hour or so. He also breaks down a mini version of it on their podcast, Fantasy DGM Podcast. If you haven't checked them out, go do that. My main notes from it is that it's a month earlier than normal. This tournament has been, just the way the fall schedule used to work, late October, early November. And now we're, it's September 30th technically, but so first week of October. Not a huge importance, but it is for Vegas because it's still a little warmer. The overseed hadn't kicked in probably as much as what it normally is a month from now. Even some of the comments on the prior tour pros, like quotes you read going back years, that sometimes when it got into that November area, all that grass being dead and stuff made it difficult to chip at times, stuff like that. I don't think they'll have to mess with that this year at this time. I think it should be pretty prime condition. And the weather didn't look too terrible this week. Mid 80s, maybe low 90s. So nothing crazy for Vegas, what it could be. So I actually think, and the weather looks beautiful. No rain, no concern, no wind. I think it's going to be a gettable course. We'll see how it looks being a month earlier. Bermuda fairways, it is bent grass greens. I think I've read 4 or 5 different areas, and there are people all over the place that are wrong. I have 100% confirmation these are bent grass greens. They're not POA. They're not Bermuda. They do have overseed at times, but they are going to putt like bent grass. So if you hear anywhere else different than that, it's wrong. I promise you 100% it's bent grass greens. So if you're looking at your models, make sure you look at that. Par 72, 7,200. Par 5s are pretty gettable. Normal cut line's -1. I'm going to project a -3 cut this week just because the talent level is much greater than what normally plays in this event. And with the T65, I think you're going to have to get the 3 under to make the cut. I see the winner being low 20s, -20, -19 to -21, somewhere in there. As I said, no weather concerns. Nagels, anything on the tournament, the prep, the course that caught your eye before we get into the field?
No, I'm just looking at good iron players. I'm looking at maybe a course history, including like desert golf. Maybe some Texas courses, Waste Management, this golf course here in Vegas. I'm looking at those types of things. But yeah, I want my iron players, definitely.
140-man field. It looks like they may add a couple today. Like I said, T65 and ties, that's going to be pretty standard until we get later in the fall with some of the 3-course rotation. And then as we get to the majors, the early pots and the DraftKings at least has pretty much same as always. I will say if you join the Super Draft, we've got a big push on that on the football side. They're our official sponsor of the coin flip. They do have, it's not big, but if you want to try something a little different, they do have hockey and golf up now. So it's not just for football. We are supplying some football content and a lineup builder and stuff to help you out. I'm not going to do it for golf yet, and certainly not hockey. We haven't committed down the daily sports path. But if they come up with some bigger contests when we get to the spring, and maybe we have some talks with them, they can jump on and be our sponsor as we roll into after football season as well. Great guys over there. I've had great relationship with them so far. They know I love DraftKings. There's nothing against it, but I think competition helps everything. And DraftKings, I believe, has a monopoly on this industry right now, especially in sports like golf. So anything that can come out and help is always good. The last 3 weeks, their main football contest is $125,000 pot, and it's been about 60% full. So there is major overlay and free money to be given away, especially if you use some of our content. I think the Gups Corner crew has an advantage in that contest. I'll be playing it again. I know several people have. It's pretty fun. It's a little different. That's a pretty good pot, $20,000 to first place, and it's guaranteed, just like any DraftKings one on the football side. So check us out Wednesday for that. For me, stats, short game is important here. At least everything I've seen so far. Obviously, approach, ball striking as always. You're going to have to be able to go low, which is a factor for me, especially when I'm looking at guys to win. Hitting greens, I've upped this week. And then, there's a blend between, these are very difficult fairways to hit, but it's not hard to score off the fairway, if that makes sense. So guys can miss off the fairway sometimes, especially the bombers, and still be able to attack the green. But when you do miss, it seems the top 5 and top 10s over the last 5 years have been able to have great short games to get up and down, save the par, or the short game, if you're looking at the round the green stuff for the par 5s to get that birdie. I think if you don't have a great short game, it's going to be a tough field for you overall. So guys like Benny On come to mind because he's got a great short game here. I think his putting splits are a little better than normal because he normally sucks, but he's not as bad here. So those kind of guys are in play for me. If you're new to the pod, we do the Dirty Dozen. We got 4 tiers of 3 picks, 9K and above, 7,600 to 8,900, 7,500 or less. And then our last tier is a flop, fade, and a sleeper. Nagels, kick us off. 9K and above. Who are the 3 guys that stick out to you?
All right. Well, it's a little boring, but I think the most highly owned guy, it's early, but I think Cantlay is going to be the most popular, and I think he should be. He finished 40th last week, and if you look at Cantlay's year last year, whenever he didn't have such a great performance, he usually followed that up with a very good one. I don't think that he's gonna. Yeah, he was our fade. I think he was my flop or my fade last week. I don't think he's gonna repeat that. So, if you want to go chalk, I think Cantlay's very safe. He's got a first and a second here. Last week he's playing in California. He's from there. Maybe he was out on the town with his friends. Who knows? But he obviously likes this golf course, and I think he's pretty safe play at 11-1. Next guy that I'm looking at is Morikawa, who was 10th last week. This kid is an elite iron player. Last year, he won. After he won his event, he wasn't great. He didn't start missing cuts, but he wasn't having top 10 finishes like he usually was. He got a nice long break, came back last week, finished 10th in California, where he's from, and now I think this is going to be a great opportunity for him to show up again. So I like Morikawa, but my pick to win, and we mentioned it a little bit before, is Hideki. Hideki hasn't won in a really long time. You think, I'm looking at this, Las Vegas, Desert Golf, Waste Management comes to mind. He obviously has a great history there. He missed a cut last week, but he wasn't terrible. He just shot 2 even par rounds. He was 10th here in his only appearance, and it's been a really long time since he's won. And with all these new players in this field this week, maybe Hideki gets a little underlooked based off his missed cut last week, and I like him a lot. I think we'll get to the betting segment later, but I like Hideki a lot. So I think he's my pick to win. So yeah, I'm going to roster him.
Yeah. For a guy that elite, 22-1 isn't a bad number. Obviously, everybody gets a little bump up on their price when you put a Brooks in this field. So traditionally can help you. With some of these guys that are longer shots. Cantley didn't get much of a bump. He's 12-1. This is the first time we're kind of on the same page here. We normally haven't duped over each other, but my first two are Cantley and Morikawa. I do have some others I'll go through in the round table. Cantley, I just don't know. I'm interested to see how it flows through the week. Everything about it seems like an auto play for me. Played okay last week. Didn't look great, but didn't look horrible. And then just kind of was there on Sunday, finished around. I think he finished T40. Didn't ever have a big go low round. Obviously, like you said, a first and a second here. He's number one in course history as far as that goes on a per tourney basis. Being the 11-1 makes it interesting because, I don't know how many people will pay up to Brooks or you drop down significantly from there, whether you want to go Bryson or Webb or Scott. I imagine Webb and Scott are going to pick up a lot of ownership at their price. So he could be in a no man's land being at the 11-1 and be a price payoff. I do think there's some value this week in the sixes that hasn't been there, at least from the public eye, that will allow people to pay up. So I think all these guys are in play this week. But my third pick is Benny On's my third pick at 9K.
Oh,
he's played 3 straight tournaments, a 47th, a third. He missed a cut last week, which probably isn't a bad thing. He's number one in my around the green model. I think he can get up and down, obviously. We know he's not great putting, but his putting splits are better than his normal overall, even though he's just average for the field. For him, if he can just be average in real life for the week, I mean, he could possibly not run away, but he can go low. And so I like him. If he becomes chalky, he's easily somebody I can get off of by the time Wednesday comes around. I have tons of options that on the roundtable discussion that it's really going to, I think my initial reaction is no one's going to just be overly chalky because there's so much up top options that it should be pretty spread out overall. So I'm not worried too much about ownership up top, at least. I think you can kind of pick and choose there. There's no one that just sticks out to me as Uber got to play chalk. I mean, Neiman's there. We know I'm all about that. The FOMO bet. Hadwin coming off a great tournament. I don't know if Champ will play. I assume based on hearing from about his grandfather that he may take as much time as he can while his grandfather's still alive with him, especially coming off a win. And I don't know if he may play him even if he does tee it up, but definitely a course he could play well on. Finau coming back over from across the seas, 9,800 seems a lot for him. So there's a lot up there. So I think you can kind of just pick. I don't think you have to worry about being cute. Just go with the guys you like the most up here. I'll lead off 7,600 to 8,900. My favorite player of the week right now is Scotty Scheffler. I do think he could possibly be chalky. He's been a fan fave, public fave these first several weeks coming off the Korn Ferry. He's a Texas guy, which I'll forgive him for that. But 8,800 seems like a great price for him. I did bet him. He's my free bet of the pod at 45-1. He's number one in my stats. He's number one in my recent form. Number two in my rolling stats. Now he's limited. He's only got 16 rounds in this model where I max out at 24. But in my 6 major categories, he's first, fourth, first, and 32nd. He got a 16th at Sanderson and a 7th at Greenbrier. I like him. I think this course suits his game. I think we don't have enough stats to see how he putts, good or bad. Most good putters, pure bent type. I think these greens will roll good, and I don't think that'll bother him. Only thing that would get me off him at 8,800 is if people just load up on him. In that case, I'd just take him as a bet, and I'd move off because I just don't think this is a week you have to get overweight on a chalky guy. There's just so many options out there that I'm going to avoid chalk like the plague this week. There's no reason to do it this week. My second option is Fratelli. Loved his game last week. Consistently great ball striking, can score, can go low. He has a T7 and a T6 the last 2 tournaments. He's top 10 and around the green for me. He did well at Northern Trust and BMW to end it last year. He's really focused on the PGA this year, it seems to me. Sometimes he's gone back and forth from Euro and here. I think I think he's here to play, and he wants to get some points. Never played this course as a downside, but 8,900, same 45-1. I definitely like him in play. And then my last play, kind of sticking with same guy, but mainly because of price. 7,600, I'll take HV3. This is his 5th straight year to play this. He missed a cut the first year and then kind of gotten better strokes gain wise every single year. Last year he got a 15th, T15, T17 last week with terrible iron play. His approach game was off, which I actually like because it tells, because normally his iron game is a strength. And so for his iron game to be off, he got a T19 at Greenbrier, T17 last week. Like if that's his normally pretty good game for him and everything else is clicking, keeping him in it, and all I need is his irons to kick back up, I'll take him on that. Good around the green game as well. He'll keep it in play as always. And I think he can go low and score. But at 7,600, I just think the top 20, top 30 type deal. And I don't want to say he's safe to make the cut, but he's one of those guys I put in the category, especially as much as he's played this course. What 3 have your eyes?
All right. You said Scheffler and Fratelli, right? Both of those guys are Texas guys, right?
They are, yep.
And you're an Oklahoma guy.
I am Oklahoma.
So
guy.
you can tell it's an unbiased opinion right there.
Very unbiased.
I have a question for you, Gup, because I have Fratelli also.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's South African and he's went to Texas, does desert golf, is there a correlation there with those types, or is that too much of a reach to say somebody from Texas and desert golf, it's the same thing? Would you consider that the same thing or not really?
I mean,
you're a Texas guy.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest deal about typically with the Texas guys, especially when you play here, Oklahoma, Texas, all that, is the wind. Being able to adjust to the wind and playing in the wind a lot, and open courses that allow for more wind to come in, which TPC Summerlin can have windy days. I've been on that course when it was 60-mile-an-hour winds coming in because it is open, right? But, so you get that correlation when you look at a lot of Australia guys as well that play well in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Same type of deal. It may be a ball flight deal. I'm not. That's almost like I need Bucks there because he's that in-depth type. He's that in-depth golf guy. I could see the correlation because you can continue to go down the list. Adam Scott, he's up in my model this week. Plays good in Texas. But there's something there. Way beyond my golf pedigree to go in depth, but I do agree with you. Okay.
Well, I do like Fratelli as well. That's a good call. I went a little boring with my second pick. I took Brian Harman. He was 15th here 3 years ago. His last 2 starts, he's 14th and 3rd. And so that's more of he's in good form. And considering who he's next to with Scott Piercy right there and Kevin Na, and HV3 and Griot and Brian Moore, I think he might be I don't think he's not going to be like the super popular choice out of that group. So I'm kind of like Brian Harman a little bit. But the guy I like the best in this range is JT Poston.
Harman's 9th in my model, which surprised me. My fear about him is just I wonder if he can go low enough. That's the only thing that hesitates me there. But I do like him.
Okay. I like JT Poston. Now, his last 3 starts, he's got a 4th place sandwiched between 2 missed cuts. But he was 11th at Sanderson in his first start of the year. And he's coming in off a week off. So maybe that was his
last 3 starts here.
Rust out.
His last 3 starts at this course, right?
Yeah, he had a miscut, a 4th, and then a miscut.
Right.
His last 3 years. But he does have a 4th. And, coming off an 11th at Sanderson, he's going to be well rested and got the rust out, and he's going to start his year. I like JT Poston a lot at 8,300. So I'm going Poston, Fratelli, and Brian Harman in that range.
I love Poston as well. We're kind of on that. We haven't been on the same page yet, so I don't know. Maybe that's a good.
Well, this is a good sign or a bad sign.
I wouldn't say we haven't been on the same page, but like normally we haven't been against each other necessarily, but we definitely haven't been just in sync. But Poston and Harman were 2 guys I put down the round table because they were like my next 2 that I cut. 7,500 or less. Why don't you kick us right back off there, and then I'll wrap it up.
All right. Well, you mentioned him last week. I like him a lot this week. That's Jimmy Furyk. He ended up being 17th last week. It was his first event of the year. Now he's got a great course history, but you have to go back a million years, like 2006. He used to play this event all the time. He missed the cut at this event last year. That was coming right after the Ryder Cup, but he was fourth year in 2009. But again, I think he won this event back in the early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. But
did you know? I didn't realize this. In one of the years he won it, I was doing research because I'm not Bucks. I've already admitted that as far as the golf guru back. I didn't realize this used to be a 5-day tournament. And it's because I was seeing I was seeing scores like -30, -31. I was like, holy shit, these guys were going crazy.
They're killing it. Yeah.
And I started reading the details, and it used to be a 5-day, like I don't know if it was Labor Day or what. And so that's how they had the higher scores back then. But I think that changed like, I don't know, mid 2000s. It went to the 4-day, and then it's been at TPC Summerlin since I think this is his 5th year or 6th year at that course. So I just a little back knowledge, but I didn't realize that.
Okay. Interesting. I like Nick Watney. This is the 12th year I've counted that he's played this event in a row. He's got 3 top 10s. He was 10th last week. So that's just more of a course history play. Nick Watney. And now I don't know if this is going to get me kicked off the pot or not, but I like Keegan Bradley this week. He was 7th here 3 years ago. It's his second start of the season. He's coming off a 24th at the Greenbrier, and he's just the type of ball striker. Listen, you're playing Benny on. You're worried about him making putts. I'm going to play Keegan Bradley. I'm worried about him making putts, but I kind of like him as an under the radar type of guy. Keegan at 7,500.
That's not. He's right there. For his price seems cheap for his kind of pedigree, but in this field, I can see it. He's 38th in my model, so for that price range, he's right there. Hadn't played her since 2016, but I don't have putting splits on Bent are 37% better than what they're anywhere else. So it's definitely would be a spot to play him. I don't mind that at all. He didn't really catch my eye, so that's a good one.
Okay. Where are you going?
My 3 and my number 1 is Wise. I'm going to go back to Aaron Wise. It's his 4th straight year here. He has a 10th, a 32nd, a 15th. He had the T39 at Sanderson. 7,500 seems egregiously low for him. And, he played well. Obviously, he won the Byron. So kind of back to that, things we've been talking about. He is from Corona, California, which one of my best friends from college got married there. It's where he was from. So it's not very far from Vegas. I'm just going to make the assumption that he's played this course a time or two. His stats aren't as great as his overall ranking. The course history here, he's number 11. That kind of helps him out overall. He doesn't just pop all over the place like some of the other guys, but at 7,500 with his talent, I definitely like Wise. My next guy is Robbie Shelton. I think probably could be popular at 6,900. Pretty good value at 160 to 1, probably even a top 20 value there. Recent form's great. So he's a Korn Ferry guy, former Jimmy Walker Cup member from Alabama. He's had a 7th, a 28th, and a 52nd. Made all 3 cuts coming out the gate. So I like that a lot. Limited sample size to look at stats. Nothing just too crazy. I do think he has the ability to go low and compete. So a good option at that price. I'm interested to see. He's another guy that, some of these Korn Ferry guys, especially within our industry, get pretty popular because guys like to jump on them early. My last guy, he had a good week last week, a really good week. So I'm interested to see how he comes in the popularity contest. But Lanto Griffin, 17th overall in the stat model, number 4 overall in my model this week. Great start to this season, a 13th, 11th, a 17th. He's striking the ball well. He's putting good. Had a chance there on Sunday to make a run. He played great on Sunday. He just was a little too far back out. Nothing really knocking him. Ball striking's a little below average for me, but everything else is pretty solid. Hits a lot of greens, which I think is important here, so I like that a lot. He's only played this once 2 years ago. He did miss the cut. Not going to knock him too much from that. I think he's a different player today than he was 2 years ago, but at 7,200, he's a guy that's got my eye for sure. Our
I
last
had
tier.
I had him last week, Lanto Griffin. He was
Yeah.
he was one of my guys in that range, and yeah, he's been in great form. He's been making a lot of putts, though. He's been making a lot of putts, which is good. But you hope that doesn't. You just hope he can keep that going. You know.
Yeah, and you down this range, there's going to be some weaknesses somewhere. So you have to, and there's a lot of options this week. I mean, in the roundtable, we could go forever. Going to be important, especially to be on Wednesday night as we wrap up, kind of deep dive. All the content that comes out, I think, has helped us in the fall swing. Take a better look. That's how I got on. I'm probably messed his name up, but I think it's Zane. I don't know how to properly say it. I need to listen on the broadcast, but he balled.
I know who you're
last
talking
week,
about.
and, yeah, he won me some money, so I like him. And Hoag, I don't mind it either. You know, he's 6,200. He got a price decrease, and he played well last week. So, you know, I definitely don't mind that kind of guy. Our last tier is a flop, a fade, and a sleeper. The flop is someone you think won't return their dollar per point value. A fade is someone you're fading because of ownership or course history or whatever. Doesn't necessarily have to do with value per se. It could be any kind of reason. And then our sleeper is $6,900 or less that we hadn't already mentioned. Who is your flop, fade, and sleeper?
All right, flop is easy for me. I'm taking Brooks as a flop. Yeah, his brother's in the field. I heard in a little narrative that maybe he's upset that he didn't win Player of the Year, so he's going to come out and blitz this field. I don't buy it. He's coming in off a layoff. He might be rusty. He's already said that when he's not playing golf, he's not playing golf. For him to come in and be the top, 11-7, highest priced guy in this field, to return value, he's got to finish top 3 or 2 or win. And I don't see him doing that. So that's an easy flop for me. My fade is your boy, Scotty Scheffler. I think he is going to garner the most ownership down there in the 8,800, that $8,800, that $8,000 range. I don't see a lot of other options that are going to be. I think he's going to be popular. Maybe Hadwin at 91, but he's a rookie. Obviously, he's never played here. He's top 20 his last 5 events. Everyone's going to notice that, and he's going to be a fade for me because I'm for ownership purposes. My sleeper, who I love. I got a good one. Just give me a second here because I got some good numbers. I like Taylor Gooch. Taylor Gooch is an elite iron player. He makes a lot of birdies. I would like him for like a first-round leader bet or a top 10 or a top 20. He's $6,400 on DK. He was 16th here 2 years ago. Now his start, he missed the cut at the Greenbrier, but he shot 68 and 69. That's not terrible. And at the Safeway, he opened 69-69, but ended up having a bad weekend, 72-76, and ended up finished 56th. This guy's a great iron player. If you look at all the recent winners or guys who have top 10 in this tournament, they're all great iron players. This kid is a great iron player at 6,400 and at, what is he, 250 to 1. I like Taylor Gooch a lot. That's my sleeper. All right. How about that?
Man, this is it's getting kind of weird. Pod's gonna go quick. So my flop is Brooks. Not even close. I won't play him. I won't touch him. I don't see him being here. I don't know. If he wins, he wins. I'll just move on. If I'm doing an MME, I haven't decided yet, and for some reason he's 5 to 7% or some goofy like that come Wednesday, I'd play him 10% if I'm building, 40, 50 lineups or something like that for sure. But if I'm doing a 1 to 3 max build, I don't want any part of him here. I think he's either here because of his brother or knock off some rust, start getting ready. I'm sure he wants some points and all that as well, but I mean, he's played this course well. So I'm hoping he does get the ownership. That's what I'm banking on. He's played 3 times. He had a miscut, a second, and a fourth. Can he show up and dust this field? Absolutely. Not even close, right? If his game is on A game, which he's admitted he doesn't really practice any at all when it's on a major. So I can't imagine him just coming in here being on point, but I'm sure he's getting a nice little endorsement check to show up, appearance fee as well. So motive for me, I don't know. I could change by Wednesday if everybody has that same narrative. We'll see. My fade's Adam Scott, strictly because of last week. Played well. He's here. He's here to compete. He's made that clear. This is strictly thinking he's going to be one of the highest owned, if not the highest owned, in the 10K range.
Okay.
If something changes with that. He's the cheapest in the price. I think it'll be him or Webb, which I think Webb has great course history. He's played this 6 times in a row, which surprised me because, this is a fall swing event, every year. So he doesn't have to play this. So he obviously loves the course. Hasn't done like anything crazy. He's got a 4th, a 56, a 31st, a 20th, and a 15th. Scott has, the downside of Webb is he hasn't played since the Tour Championship. So this will kind of be his knock the rust off type deal. Probably will start a little slower. Scott did that last week and got a T17, but Scott hasn't played this course at least since 2014. So kind of a flip and a flop there. I like to see how the ownership shakes out. I like Scott. He's number 6 in my model. I'm just banking on being high owned. So stay tuned by Wednesday if that somehow changes. And then my sleeper, who you could have listed 139 guys, I would have never thought you would have guessed the exact same as me, is Gooch. I'm on Gooch. I bet him.
I love this.
Gooch is
we
my
didn't
boy.
talk before.
I know Gooch. He's let's just say I know him. He's from
All right.
Oklahoma, but he was around the area when I was as well. Watched him plenty play golf in Oklahoma. Good guy, good kid, great kid. And similar to you, he's played this once, 2017, T16. His T56 is misleading because he had the Collie Vegas bug Sunday. He shot like 4 or 5 over because he was top 15 going into Sunday, I believe. Top 10.
69 the start. 6 under par. Yeah, right in the mix.
And then he shoots like 77 on Sunday or something. So
76. I got it right here. I'm looking right at it. Yeah, 76.
Yeah. He is in the top 10 percentile of putting splits for me. Loves Big Green. He putted on Big Green a lot. Obviously went to Oklahoma State. A lot of the Tulsa courses that these kids get to play, especially my course, and the Oklahoma State kids would come out to my course when I was in Tulsa. Ricky was there, Gooch, all those guys. They're all Big Green. So the Oaks is where I was in Tulsa, TCC. It's a lot of Big Green up there in Tulsa. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. So he's very familiar with Big Green. So I love him this week, 6,400. Sounds like you do too. So I don't know if that's really like we just lock and load or everybody fade our picks because there's gonna be no pod next week or we're gonna be like touting like crazy. Round table for me, guys we hadn't mentioned really. Matsu, you did. I agree. I like Matsu. He was my number 1 roundtable guy. I'm interested to see where he flows in ownership-wise at 9,700. I think that's cheap for him. I like that he played last week. I agree with you that he could be right there on the verge of a win. We know that. Neiman, because he won, I don't know if it's a FOMO bet, but I'll probably still bet him. He's in that. I guess I'm going to make a little marking on my sheet now that says FOMO because some people got angry that I won the Neiman bet when he won, but I didn't officially bet it. And I was like, I bet him every week. I tell everybody, I bet Neiman, I bet Armour, I bet Redmond. All these guys, some of them make my official card as like plays, but like we all have our FOMO guys. I'm going to bet every week whether it's an official play for me or not. So I guess I need to dictate that to some. And he can win this week. He took a little break, right? This is the kind of course that he could play just as good as anybody. He top 10 last year here, so I like him coming back. We talked about Brooks, Champ. My only notes there kind of talked about. What about Bryson? What do you think about Bryson this week? He won last year. Great history here.
What happened to him on the weekend? He was leading right halfway through. He just totally collapsed on Saturday.
Yeah,
I didn't take that. That's not the best sign in the world. If I had to pick like Bryson versus Cam,
but he came right back Sunday and played great. So he finished top 13. So like everybody that didn't win had 1 round of shit. Like they all shot 3 good rounds and blew up, and that's why they didn't win.
Okay.
Champ just happened to like keep it together all 4.
Made a lot of putts.
Made a lot of putts. Bryson and JT like drained everything one day, and then the next day just played absolute like garbage on Saturday. And that was him. He just couldn't make a putt on Saturday. And then Sunday he showed back up, played good. I can't remember what he shot, but he finished T13. Great history here at this course. 10-7 is interesting. He's right there with that Cantley and drop down. I think he's in that crunch zone. I think Cantley and DeCham, with the way that you got to build, are going to kind of get ignored a little bit because you can go down to Scott and Webb, or if you're going to pay up, you might as well go to Brooks and take the leverage on the field because I don't think he's going to be high owned. So, I mean, Bryson could be a sneaky low-owned play. I don't know if I'm on him, but definitely an interesting play come Wednesday to see where
that's a comeback on Wednesday and find out where we stand on Bryson. Definitely. You mentioned Adam Scott before. Adam Scott went to UNLV, which is odd that he's never played this tournament before. He went to University of Las Vegas. Did you know that?
Yeah, because of OG. OG gives me the list of everybody that's played out there because OG's out in Vegas for over 20 years, so he knows a lot of he looped out there for a while for a lot of these guys.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah, so he's known the course inside and out. Kokrak's a guy played this because of scheduling. Normally this is later in the year and he's finishing. He's committed to that Australian tour deal, and so he kind of goes back over and didn't come back normally, but now he's here early so he can get some FedEx stuff and that. So it's kind of a scheduling deal for him. So why he's never played. At least that's what he said last week. Kokrak's a guy on my list. He's played this as well the last 5 years. Nothing too great, but the way he's striking the ball and scoring and playing, definitely. The only down about him is his around the green game sucks. So that's a downfall, but he can definitely strike the ball and he's doing it well. Some guys you already mentioned Poston, kind of round out for me. I'll probably have some shares of if I'm doing MME. I'll go back to Zhang. Burgoon's on my list. Hoag's on my list. Furyk is a guy that can play this course well. And then another Vegas guy, Ryan Moore. Definitely familiar with this course. Pretty cheap this week as well. I think mid-sevens on my list. Anybody else that sticks out to you that you can keep your eyes on heading into Wednesday?
Well, I think guys that might get some attention, but they seem like they may not be in the best form. Like, a guy like Lucas Glover, I think he's got a pretty good course history here, but he's been terrible so far this season. Scott Piercy, he's a Vegas guy and has a great record here, but again, I thought you were talking about him before. Scott Piercy, not Cameron Piercy. Scott Piercy. I think he shot 80 on Saturday. Maybe coming back.
There was like 30 guys that missed the cut that had more DK points than him going into Sunday. That's how bad he shot Saturday.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. So I'm not sure about his form.
But he has a great course history here. Did you say that? He has a great course history here? Scott
Piercy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's a Vegas guy. I think this is like his home course or something. Yeah, he's played here a bunch. So he's an interesting one because he played like ass on the weekend. So if everybody's off him, I don't mind having shares of him. He's a 7th, a 25th, a 24th, a 32nd, and a 10th his last 5 years here. Yeah. He knows these greens inside and out. So his putting model will show that he sucks, but he knows these greens. So don't let that because he's not great on bent traditionally or whatever, but I don't mind going there at a super low own, especially 7,900. He's right on the fringe of my player pool. Okay.
And the guy you're about to say is the last guy I have notes on, little inside. I think he's close to being really good, really back into form. And it is Berger. Berger's going to be a guy I play this week at 7,200.
Yeah, he's been sneaky. Yeah, for some reason he stood out to me as somebody, maybe he's coming back a little bit. He's just in that like Russell Henley zone down there. Oh, Chesson Hadley was somebody that I was looking at for a little bit, coming off a decent performance last week. But I don't think I'm going to be playing guys that are making their first start of the year. I'm not playing guys that are coming in from overseas, like the Tom Lewis and the Finaus of the world. I just think for the first tournament in the new swing season, whatever, I guess they're not calling it fall swing no more, but this is the 4th tournament now. So now we're getting, you can bring some recent form in. There's no reason to get cute. There's so many options this week that don't try to make it hard. Just get the guys that you're glued in on. You can get leverage in spots, get your leverage and play them. There's absolutely no reason to get, there's no, there is a bunch of corn fairy and all that, but you have enough real-time players out here and guys that have already proven themselves on this 3. I know it's a short sample size, but the fall swing historically is all about momentum and form and then some course history for the guys that have it, like a Piercy, right? He didn't look very good, but he plays something like that. But there's no reason to dig down and find some super sneaky
guy that hasn't played in 4 weeks or 5 weeks. I just don't think there is. Will a guy like that show up? Sure, they can. But, I take an Ortiz who's just looked okay, made some good rounds, but he's played 4 in a row. He's in, he's decent form, something like that, before I'd go down and find one of these guys that hadn't played in 6 weeks. That's just me personally. A guy that I typically would like here all the way around is Woodland, but he hadn't played since the Tour Championship. He has great history here. I think he's a Vegas guy or somewhere in that area as well. So
One Phoenix.
So I mean, that's a guy, but he's 9,600. Like, he's an MME play to me because there's nobody going to be on him at that price. So you could go 8% on him probably, and you maybe 1.5x the field if you're building 50 lineups. But a lot of people see me playing the 1 to 3, 1 to 5 lineup builds here in the fall. So he's just not my eye set. There's no reason for me to go there this week.
I'm glad we're on a lot of the same guys. I agree with your assessment. I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good week.
Should be. Let's zoom through the betting real quick and wrap it up. Anybody short odds 40-1 on your list?
Just Hideki, 22. That's the only one. Just Hideki, 22.
Yeah. Neiman I can go to, Morikawa I could go to, and Binion I could go to, are the three that I don't know if I'll go that low at all. Like you said, if anybody, maybe Hideki. But if I was, those are guys that got my eyes. I think this is a field that I can take advantage of some good value, so I'm probably going to drop lower. What about the mid-range? Anybody there catch your eyes?
Yeah, JT Poston is available at 66-1. Jimmy Furyk's 80-1, and Keegan's 90-1. I'm not crazy about those, but those were prices that stood out. I like that Morikawa pick too, by the way. But I don't know if I'm going to play those guys or not. I really do have a thing about Hideki this week. When I get a thought like that in my head, it's hard for me to just start dropping money on just in case I'm wrong, because I got a feeling about Hideki this week.
Well, and this is a week, honestly, you could do that because there's a lot, and we'll get to it here in a second, of 80-1 and higher values, and you could take a Hideki bet and take like 4 guys that are 80-1 or lower odds, sprinkle them in there, and you're good, right? You don't have to have a bunch of high-priced guys this week, at least the way I bankroll manage. Scheffler's on my list, and that's going to probably come down to, obviously I already bet him. It was kind of a hedge because I agree with you. I think he could be chalky, and if he's chalky, I'm not going to play him. I've already stated that, and so at least I get a bet on him if he wins. Fratelli's a guy, Poston's a guy, Aaron Wise, and a guy I hadn't really mentioned yet, but I certainly will probably go back to him because he probably burned so many people last week, including myself, is Griot. Mainly because this is his best putting splits he has, period, not even close. And we know that is his only weakness. I think the guy lost like 90 strokes putting last week. I mean, he cannot putt to save his life.
That's a lot.
It's amazing. Like, he is the best ball striker, approach guy, one of the best in the tour, not even close. And he can't putt. I mean, it's horrendous how bad he putts. But he putts well on this type of layout. So 7,600 price drop. Everybody's pissed because he got the miscut. That's normally a bounce back week I like to take advantage of. But I like his odds as well. 75-1. 80 to 120. I have Lanto, HV3, Berger. I think is a good bet there, and then possibly Burgoon. Anybody in that range you like?
I'm sorry. I skipped ahead before. I have. I was looking at Furyk. I was looking at Keegan. Furyk's 80, Keegan's 90. I screwed that up. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
No, but maybe Keegan. If anybody on any podcast or in any column mentions that they like Keegan Bradley, then fade him immediately. But if no one's talking about him at all, then put him on your radar at 90-1. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Besides me.
Right. He's being talked about too much. Deep guys that I'll either play or I'll do top 20, top 10 type stuff. It worked out last week for me. Ortiz, Doc, Shelton, Matt Jones. I'm interested to see what the withdrawal was, if it was just he was sucking ass so he wanted to leave, or if he really is hurt, because he fits my model well, but I want to see how hurt. Obviously Gooch, I'll be on at least top. I may each way him. Hoag again. I hope I can say his name right.
That's right. You keep saying that. You're fine. Bo Hoag. Yeah, you're good.
Yes. So he's another potential top 20 guy. Guy's just a grinder, and I definitely like him to make the cut. And then Zhang, I like going back to him as well. A lot of value down there. Some T20s that can definitely get in the mix. As we've seen, I think the T65 is getting talked up a lot. Again, I don't have a problem with it. I have my opinion hadn't changed at all. I just want to address it because I know people will ask, but I would, and I got killed by it last week. It murdered me being on the number, but I would rather have the way it happened than have. I think it was going to wind up being like 86 guys make it to Saturday and have an MDF. I'm just not about that, so I don't mind it at all. I have no issues with it. I'd rather just keep grinding it and think that my skills will outplay others long term with the cut. So
no, I like it a lot. I think in a way it kind of speeds up play. If you have less guys on the golf course, the guys have to make the cut. If it's one shot lower, play one shot better. It's not that complicated. So I like the way it's shaping out.
Any final thoughts for you?
Yeah, Taylor Gooch is 250 to 1. He's 20 to 1 to finish in the top 10. Keith Mitchell was 175 to 1, which I thought was interesting. Siwoo is 125, and Kevin Streelman's 66, which doesn't make any sense to me. It didn't make sense to me last week, and doesn't make sense to me this week. But no, it's going to be a good tournament. It's West Coast, so it'll be on a little bit in a later window. I think there's only like 2 football games at 4:00 Eastern this week, so this will be a good thing to keep an eye on, and I'm looking forward to it. But Hideki this week.
I think it'll be a great tournament overall. As always, you can join Tambo and myself Wednesday night in the chat room, 8:00 Eastern for E9, 30-minute show there. And we do the Coin Flip Football podcast at 9 Eastern right afterwards. Coin Flip's been fire. It's been hot. We've had some great takes, some good overall back and forth. A lot of good comments on it, especially backing it up Saturday. Don't forget, we have a ask questions on the channel. There's a channel now where it's called live chat questions, I believe. So, and a lot of people did it last week. It was great. So you can drop your questions in there. Wednesday, we'll hit those to start off the live chat, and then we'll roll into the YouTube questions that are coming in live. Same thing Saturday night for football. Saturday night starts at 7 Eastern. We try to get that done before the big Saturday night football game, and then we have time with our families as well. I think the schedule's pretty normal this week. I am traveling next week. I'll have an update on that. We will get to everything next week, just may have a couple different times and slots. As last reminder, join gupscorner.com now. GCFFG, 15% off with that code. Free preview on the golf tools. We're going to continue to build them up throughout the fall and winter. And then we will go live behind the paywall for the Tournament of Champions in January, first week of January. I think it's actually last week of December / first week of January. Looking forward to that season as well. But I think this new scheduling brings a awesome part of the year for golf. I think more and more people are engaging in golf, and hopefully the partnership between DK and PGA only strengthens that and helps industry guys like us out, especially in what is normally a complete off season. I think by the time you get, to the first WGC, there'll be a lot of eyes on golf as people, I don't want to say are tired of football, but everybody wants a little break from that. We obviously do it both. So I enjoy it. Really enjoyed the tournament last week. And I did actually have it on one of the main channels, as long as with the red zone. So it was good action. You thought it was going to be a runaway, then all of a sudden it started tightening up. And so it was a pretty good Sunday coming down the stretch. Just had one trying to make a push. Emotional moment there on 18. Especially for me, I lost my grandfather in similar fashion when I was in college playing football. So kind of brought back memories from a long time ago. And I know I'm not at the pro level like he was, but much respect to him, the way he handled himself for not only that day, but the entire tournament, and closing the win. I think he's got a number of big tournaments ahead of him, and wish him and his grandfather and his whole family well, and prayers are with them this week. And hopefully he lasts many, many more days so Champ can enjoy it with him. Great tournament, great week. I'm looking forward to this week. We will see you Wednesday night on the E9, 8:00 Eastern. Have a good week.
SmashFactor.